Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review we are looking at the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z SHENRON, which is a figure people have been very excited about, and I was too. I was definitely one of those people, and the figure is exactly what they promised it would be. The question is that a good thing? And after having it in hand, the answer may not be necessarily yes. Now, before you go and say, hey, why are you saying this is no good? Just wait. We're going to talk about why it's good and why it might not be so good in the review. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Alright guys, so the first measurement we're going to do is from the table all the way up to the top of his neck area, which means the stand and everything included. He's just about, right around 11 inches. Let's say 11 inches. Of course, that can vary depending on how he's posed, but as you can see, he's being supported by a bunch of acrylic uprights, so he can't be too much higher than that. You're going to have to really try to make that happen if you want to. And that makes him just about, let's say 28.5 centimeters. So he definitely has some size. For comparison, I borrowed my brother's Goku so that we can see what it looks like. So we're going to stand him right there. He's clearly out of scale. Nobody expected it to be in scale though, so no worries there. But it's going to be a nice big piece for your Dragon Ball collection. So that's pretty cool. Now, like I said, he is exactly what he was supposed to be. I mean, nobody expected it to be incredibly well articulated. You know, there's not so much you can do. They did add a bunch of different segments throughout, which you can see have poseability. They have actually pretty good range, surprisingly good range of poseability, which is fantastic. However, and this is why I said it, I don't know, I'm kind of torn on this thing in general, just because it doesn't really serve a purpose being an action figure. I think they might have been better off making it cheaper and just making it like an SH Figuarts statue figure type thing, where the arms are still posable, the mouth can open, that kind of thing. But most of this articulation is on a piece which is already sculpted in a curve and a twist. For instance, like right here, it's twisted and curved. So posing it, you can't really pose it. Like, you'll never be able to straighten him out. You'll never really be able to put him in any pose other than what he's in right now. So you can't fault it for it. It is what it's supposed to be. That's perfectly fine. I'm talking like in a more big picture type of thing. Does this need to be what it is? I don't know. I mean, that's up to you, I guess, to decide. But like I said, you can't really pose it in any effective way. Especially the pieces down at the bottom, they're very curved. We have a joint here and a joint here, and these are like 90-degree bends. So you can't really pose it. You can only kind of adjust it to make it fit on the display stand. And these guys are adjustable. You can slide these little hooks right here. These guys, you can slide these up and down on this part, but it's not really effective. I mean, you can't do anything with it really other than keep it in this general same pose. So yeah, it's cool that you can move it around, and I'll show you kind of the extent of the moving in a minute, but I don't know, it's just not that necessary. As far as the paint goes, it's generally pretty good. You can see on mine, well, maybe you can see it. I don't know. Let's see if you can see it. I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera. Let's see. Yeah, it's not really showing up. I guess maybe you can see it a little bit. Right here, I have this really weird orange smush spot, and then there's like some green coming through and some red, and that doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good at all. Mostly the red line that's going all the way around is pretty clean, but it's not particularly clean. In some places it's pretty iffy. So I mean, it's good enough. It's okay, but it's not great. Like some of mine, the red goes up onto the green. Maybe you can see that there. I'm kind of reluctant to take him off the stand until I have to, because he's kind of a hassle to move around. But you can see the red is just a little questionable in some places, so it does take a little bit away from the overall look. But mostly it's good. The dark green is painted fine, and then the face looks really nice. So I'm very pleased with how that turned out. And like I said, the jaw does open and close, so I guess that's okay. That's all right. These guys you do have to peg on, and they're almost symmetrical, but they're not. So it is kind of bothersome to somebody who likes things to be symmetrical. You can see they're almost the exact same shape, but this one has a big straight bit before it comes out, so it looks a little weird, but no big deal there. Now here's the thing, before we get to the articulation, here's one thing that does absolutely bother me. We have this piece, which is the Dragon Balls and the light up kind of like stylized effect part, which looks fine. The stylized light up thingy looks really cool. I like the shading, that's fine. Now the Dragon Balls are just one solid piece, and they're gold. And I get that they're gold so that they kind of look like they're glowing or whatever. That's fine. But this would have been a fantastic opportunity to finally get some SH Figuarts Dragon Balls. How many figures do we have now, and why do we have no Dragon Balls? It's literally the name of the franchise, and we don't have any, except for these, but now they're all one solid piece, and they're gold. Why didn't they give us actual Dragon Balls to put in there? Goodness. I mean, obviously, we knew that we weren't getting that when we bought it, so it's not technically a fault for the figure, but it's a fault for the company. Why don't we have any damn Dragon Balls? Goodness gracious. And then the other thing about this is, in order to set it on the display stand properly, it has to go behind, if I can get it in place, behind the first upright. So it's kind of a not good design. It's sitting right behind that acrylic spot, and there's no real way to change that. So that's not very well planned, very well thought out. So yeah, I mean, overall it looks okay, but I don't know, guys. I feel like I'm not actually disappointed with the figure. I'm just disappointed with the fact that it doesn't need to exist in the way it does. So it just, I don't know, it's weird. It's a weird situation. So let me go ahead and take him off so you guys can kind of see what posability there is. And that's kind of where I'm getting with this, is there's really no posability. There's no way to pose him in any way that's effective, especially if you pop him apart. Okay, so he can come apart. Obviously, he's got some pegs and stuff. But there's no real good way to pose this because of the way it's sculpted. I mean, you can kind of, if you wanted to pose it this way, you could, but it's still not really going to line up properly. And there's no real good way for you to display him that way. So really, the only good articulation is that of the arms, which are basically your standard DBZ SH Figuarts arms. We have the ball peg where they connect. We have our ball hinge for the shoulder, a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and then a little ball hinge for the hands, which very nicely done. We have 4 of those on the body. But I don't know, guys. Like, obviously I like it, and I'm happy to have it in my collection. It's a cool piece. Again, I just think maybe it would have been better to just be like a slightly posable statue, which doesn't really suit the Figuarts brand, but neither does this, because it's just kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Like, all this articulation doesn't really do anything for it. It doesn't add any value, and it does, obviously, all articulation detracts from the aesthetic. So I think we could have been better off with another product in general, but as this one is, I mean, it's successful for what they went out to do, so I'll give them that. It's fine. The review objectively is that the figure is fine, and I recommend it. Subjectively, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's fine, but we definitely could have probably just used a statue instead, and it would have been just as good, and we would have had fewer display base stand bits that get in the way and make it ugly, and the sculpt would have looked better, and all of that kind of thing. So subjectively, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of torn. Objectively, it is what it's supposed to be, so I can't fault it. So there you go. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that and give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.